Why does a research funder invest in infrastructure for metadata, research metadata? Some words on the Austrian Science Fund. We are an independent, publicly financed, academia-governed funding organization, which is similar to organizations in your country, DFG, SNF, ACCA in Finland. We cover all disciplines, including arts and humanities, and we have pure bottom-up funding with no budgetary earmarking for disciplines. Having said that, we have influence on the Austrian innovation ecosystem, but the influence is limited. See here the numbers of our budget compared to the inhabitants. So there's a large difference between Austria and Switzerland. For all of these funding agencies, there are several challenges, several developments ahead. Science and responsible society. As you can imagine, there's a constant plea for more money, not only for the Austrian Science Fund, but for a lot of funding agencies and a lot of universities. On the other hand, the expectations on science and the expectations on science funding are on the rise. Society, policy, and economy, all of them have different expectations. Science in an open society will change the way we have to work in the next years, and there is a strong legitimation pressure in an, let's call it, audit society. And how to achieve all these challenges, all these expectations within a system, within a bureaucratic way of handle it to reduce the bureaucratic burden on scientists. So basically there are two fundamental approaches. The first approach is the laissez-faire approach. You send an application like Otto Wartburg in the 20s to the DFG asking for 10,000 mark, and you give it to him, and that was it. That was our role. So that's the one extreme. The second extreme is we build up really, really big bureaucratic systems. Funding agencies, troublemakers. And I think there should be a way in the middle, and we have to find a way in the middle to help to explain the impact of that, what we are doing to the society, with a fair bureaucratic burden to scientists. So what are we doing? We're monitoring our processes and asking ourselves, are there biases in that what we are doing? We do that internally, but also we give our data sets to scientists, research groups who work with it and who publish their findings. We evaluate our initiatives, we evaluate our programs, and we do that compared to relatively high international standards. We do an impact monitoring. There's an ex post peer review of all our funded projects, and also here there are several papers, studies produced that analyze the findings, but the outcomes of our funded projects. And we ask all 10 years the Austrian science community, what do you think about FWF. So what is the way ahead? How can we improve this, our evaluation and monitoring system? First of all, we want to build up, together with other Austrian organizations, a science policy repository for studies on research policy, for evaluations, for data produced in these studies. We want to enhance the use of FWF of the FWF funding data, and finally the implementation of a research information system with the following principles, and now that's why ORCID come on the table. Input once, reuse often. Interoperability is a big issue. No silification of information, and the enhancement of data quality. So why we are doing this, come back again to the problems with where ORCID can help us. There is a problem with name ambiguity. The name Zinoecker, my family name, exists 60 times in Austria. Even there are 2 Klaus Zinoeckers in our database. One is a graphic novelist, and one is an evaluation aficionado. That's me. And the interesting thing is our umbrella organization, Science Europe, is sending their invitations to conferences, for example, to the graphic novelist. Okay, heterogeneity of information is another problem. To come to the point, we invest a lot in evidence-based policymaking. When it comes to evidence-based policymaking, if metrics are used, if money is invested in mighty tools, it is critical that the underlying data is as accurate as possible. Otherwise, results will mistrust. How underlying data is collected and processed is very important, that's clear. And we therefore need unique, persistent, verified identifiers, agreed data formats, agreed data semantics. So that's why we are investing time and ambition to introduce things like ORCID. So, to come to an end, just one hint, a study which was mentioned by the Max Planck Society in the morning, recommendations for the transition to open access in Austria, a study that could be a nucleus for open access, open science strategy in Austria on a larger level. Thank you very much.